Georgia grand jury just filed charges against the dad accused of intentionally leaving his 22-month-old son in a hot car to die. Justin Ross Harris is now hit with 8 new charges of sexually exploiting young girls. Now, police say he exchanged lewd photos with 2 underage girls and sent nude photos to another girl under the age of 18. He's also accused of having sexually explicit conversations with all 3 of them from January to June of 2014. Harris will be tried separately on these charges. We know his 22-month-old son Cooper died after being left in that SUV June of 2014. His attorney says the timing of these sexting charges is meant to influence a potential jury.
They are trying to throw everything up against the wall, try to make something stick, and it's very obvious. But they're poisoning jurors' minds, poisoning the public's minds.
So there you go. Prosecution denies all of those allegations, by the way. Joining us, a man who's been inside that courtroom and can hit this on all angles, Philip Holloway, police officer, attorney. So tell me, so the defense in this says this is all unrelated to the accidental death of little Cooper. Your thoughts on that argument?
Well, these charges, Mike, are entirely distinct, separate alleged offenses. They all occur in the months prior to the death of Cooper Harris. They allege sexting conduct, some of it felony, some of it misdemeanor, but it's all involving different people, different alleged victims at different times. Interestingly enough, tomorrow, the statute of limitations would have run on at least one of these charges if the district attorney had not sent it to grand jury last week.
Hence the timing. Good point on that one. And speaking of which, let's clarify for everybody, these new charges, was he sexting during when Cooper's in the hot car dying? Or is this separate incidents?
This is a separate and distinct incident. It all occurred on days, allegedly occurred on days different prior to Cooper's death. They have alleged in the original indictment, the one where he's charged with murder, they have alleged various acts of sexting in that indictment as well, but it's an entirely different transaction.
Separate. Okay, now let's get to the prosecution on this line of fire. How are they going to get that? Because the judge has not ruled, right, on whether or not this is going to be in the murder case, which starts April 11th?
The judge is expected to rule soon. She's instructed the parties to give her proposed orders so that she can make a decision on whether or not some of this evidence of other bad acts, other crimes, presumably what's in this new indictment, will be admissible in his trial on the murder charges. The prosecutor says it's to show motive, it's to show his overall plan or his intent to live a child-free life, not burdened with the obligations of parenthood, and so that's why they say it's relevant. The judge is set to rule on that in the very near future.
And the defense will counter with, and they continue to counter with?
Well, they said it's not relevant. They actually filed a motion to sever it, saying it was improperly joined, that it's basically trying to use his bad character to slime him, basically, in the presence of the jury, so that if the jury hates him so much that might carry over into the murder counts. That's why the defense is alleging, Mike, that it's an improper joinder of offenses.
How much of the prosecution's case is hurt if this is not in?
The prosecution will get in evidence of the sexting that they allege in the original indictment because it is part of that indictment. If they are not able to bring in this other crimes evidence, as they allege that they have, it will hamper their case. The ultimate question of how much it hampers it is up to a jury.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, when you mention a jury, you know, a potential juror out there, it's unsavory to think of these things. I mean, imagine being in a jury and you're hearing the case and you're seeing the pictures of little Cooper dying or dead after being in a car, in a hot car, and then you're hearing the stories of the sexting.
Right, and that's part of what the defense says is improper, because, you know, in Georgia, if evidence is relevant, it can still be excluded if its danger for unfair prejudice outweighs its relevancy, but the judge does have it in her discretion to permit the jury to hear all about these other alleged victims in this new indictment if she believes that it is relevant to the overall motive, his overall plan, or alleged scheme.
Gotcha. And we know, again, April 11th, jury selection begins. Philip, I know you keep us updated along the way in that key ruling from the judge. Expect that soon as well. All right, let's talk football and, yeah, living legend.